Good morning, everyone, and welcome to live lesson for April the 23rd. Different location for me, so I feel like it's a little off, a little lower than usual, but we are going to get started because I wanted to create a live lesson for you on what we call CRAP test in regards to evaluating our sources that we are going to be using for our independent research project. So I'm going to, like usual, flip screens, and I'm going to walk you through the lesson, give you some tips in regards to why it is so important that we evaluate the information, the sources that we find on the internet. So here we go. Sorry guys, one sec. There we go, pardon me, should be flipping now. Perfect, okay. So here we have lesson 3.3, evaluating sources. So this is hopefully going to be submitted for you by the end of day today. And again, if you're working a couple of days behind and you've connected with me, no worries. Just make sure, that you are in fact connecting with me, okay? Just so that I know where you're at. Excuse me. So once we dive in to our lesson, we start to realize we start to become aware of what we mean by the word CRAP test. So it stands for currency, reliability, authority, purpose, or point of view in regards to the information that you have, whether it's a website, an article, a blog, etc., a YouTube video, a YouTube interview, a documentary, etc. So the idea is that you are taking the information that you are coming across and you are applying the acronym CRAP, as we call it, and making sure that it does in fact kind of pass this quality test. Because remember, if we are using it for our own research, if we are citing these sources, then we want to make sure they are in fact as reliable as possible to ensure that they are supporting our argument, our perspective as accurately as we can. So that is what the acronym itself stands for. A little kind of slideshow in regards to the evaluating process of our sources that I thought was pretty handy in regards to the slides provided that we found. And again, when you go through, so here are some questions that you are to be asking yourself for the sources of which you are providing. So in terms of currency, what was the information published? Can you find a date, whether it's last written, last edited, or last updated? Are all the links working on that site? That just kind of gives you an indication. If someone is maintaining that information, if someone is updating that site, versus anybody kind of can create a website and then sort of let it become outdated within weeks, months, depending. So that's the currency aspect of it. Reliability. Does the creator, writer, author, editor, etc. provide their own references for information or quotation? A lot of people don't actually ask themselves that question. So when you're evaluating a website, is there a way to in fact track or trace the information that was provided to you? Sorry guys, I'm just switching. I'm letting Alexandra in. Hello Alexandra. Hopefully you can hear me. I am just in the middle of live lesson. I'm just going to keep going for right now. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop in or just ask me at the end, okay? All right. So I'm just going to keep going here. So back to, the concept of reliability. Does the language or tone seem unbiased? From emotion. So, I mean, if you're reading a blog or an editorial versus something from CBC, something that is meant to be more factual, remember, you're gathering research yourself. And then, of course, is that information relevant to your topic? So sometimes what I find is that the headings seem accurate or seem like they could be equivalent to what you need. And then when you actually get into the article, the information is sort of not as helpful. So it's just really important to kind of filter through that. Then you have your authority. So can you determine who the creator is? The credentials of the author. What qualifies the author to write this topic? So again, are they a professor? Are they a journalist? Are they someone regurgitating something that they saw, they heard. It's really, really important to sort of dissect who's telling you this information. And then, of course, you have your purpose and your point of view. Is the purpose to inform, to sell, to entertain, to persuade? So even in reading some of the information that you're coming across, it's super important to make sure that you yourself are not reading something that is meant to sell you something, meant to be persuasive, that you're trying to find information that is as accurate as possible, as unbiased as possible. Now, don't get me wrong, I know this can be quite a challenge. And that's kind of why these kind of formulas or tests, if you will, exists. And then what you are supposed to do from understanding the concept of the CRAP test, if you will, is that you are going to apply 2 of your sources to the test. You're going to fill out the worksheet, and you are in fact going to submit it. Just making sure. Oh, yes. So, Grade Saver, Schmoop, 123 Help Me. There are certain websites that are not considered acceptable sources. Wiki is something that I know there are sources and stuff for Wiki. And Wiki actually has gotten a lot better over the years in terms of credibility and tracking information. But I would still, because this is a research paper, because you have the time that you do for it, I would try and avoid Wiki as best as you can. And then, of course, you're going to submit your worksheet to the Dropbox. All right, I'm going to flip back here. Just give me 1 second. 1 second. There we go. Okay, so I'm hoping that was a bit helpful. And please understand something, that I know from experience in teaching this course and going through this lesson, that you are going to start going through information, because there's going to be a lot of information that you're going to find on the internet. And you're going to apply the CRAP test to each of your sources. And I know that you are going to become frustrated. And the reason why you're going to become frustrated at some point is because you're going to start to really realize that the information that is on the internet does not have all the pieces that it should have. So you're going to find a great website, you think it's really credible, and you can't find a date of last updated. You can't find an author. You have no idea who's maintaining it, who's putting the information, who's making the information available. And you're going to start to become a little frustrated. And that's part of the process, and that's okay, because you're going to realize that although things look credible on the internet, and although there is a lot of information, you have to sort through it, and you have to be critical with it. And that can be frustrating, to find credible, resourceful resources on the internet. And it's sort of meant to kind of be a hard thing to do, because anybody can share information on the internet, as we know. And it is up to us to be as critical as we can when we are filtering information, taking in information, and then representing it for our own purposes. So I want you to be critical. I want you to get a little frustrated and be like, oh my God, it feels like nothing's credible. And in many ways, there's sometimes not a lot credible on the internet. And it's just important that we're always aware of that and forming opinions and gathering information with that in the back of our minds. So that is kind of, keep going, keep navigating. You will find information that that's accurate and safe to use for your project. I promise you that. I just think that when students first kind of tackle the CRAP process, they're quite shocked that there's so many sites that are not credible and that are not really as useful as they would appear. But you will find information, I promise. And if you were really struggling and really need help, I'll do my best to help you. But just remember, part of research skills at the 4C level is really developing them and really honing in on the idea of finding good sources. So guys, this is it for me, because I want to keep it as short as possible, under 10 minutes. So if you have any questions, please contact me, let me know. And if not, happy searching, happy working, and we'll chat soon.